The 1960s were a dazzling decade in Hollywood and beyond, an era when the silver screen was ruled by beauty, glamour, and unforgettable performances. Actresses of that time weren't just movie stars. They were icons who shaped fashion, culture, and even the way we think about elegance. Their faces graced posters, their names drew crowds, and their talent left audiences spellbound. But time has a way of transforming even the brightest stars. Some have passed on, leaving behind timeless legacies, while others continue to shine in new ways. Today we revisit 30 legendary actresses, how they were then and how they are now. Sophia Loren was the epitome of Italian glamour in the 1960s, with her deep eyes and commanding presence. Even today in her late 80s, she remains a symbol of timeless beauty, still making rare appearances that prove her elegance has never faded. Brigitte Bardot was the ultimate French bombshell, redefining sensuality in films and fashion. She retired from cinema in the 1970s, and now in her 80s, she lives a quiet life dedicated to animal rights activism, her youthful beauty transformed into wisdom and conviction. Audrey Hepburn captivated the world with her graceful style and kind spirit. In the 1960s, she was the very definition of chic. She passed away in 1993, but her legacy endures as the eternal icon of elegance and humanitarian work. Elizabeth Taylor dazzled audiences with her violet eyes and dramatic roles. In the 1960s, she was Hollywood royalty. She left us in 2011, but her bold style, iconic jewelry, and tireless charity work live on in memory. Julie Andrews stole hearts with her pure voice and classic roles like Mary Poppins and The Sound of Music. Now in her late 80s, she continues to inspire, her voice softer, but her presence as enchanting as ever. Jane Fonda was the glamorous actress of the 1960s, later becoming a fitness guru and political activist. Today, in her 80s, she's still vibrant, working in film and television, proving her spirit hasn't dimmed with age. Catherine Deneuve embodied French sophistication, her icy beauty defining European cinema. Even now, in her early 80s, she continues to act, her grace intact, admired as one of France's greatest stars. Raquel Welch rose to fame in the 1960s as a bold sex symbol. She passed away in 2023, but she left behind a legacy of glamour and strength that defined an era. Anne Margaret was the fiery redhead who electrified audiences with her energy and allure. Now in her 80s, she still makes appearances, her vivacious spirit and charm never fading. Dame Helen Mirren began her career in the 1960s with stage and film roles. Unlike many others, her true fame came later, but today in her late 70s, she is celebrated not just for beauty, but also for her fearless talent. Claudia Cardinale was the Italian starlet with a magnetic screen presence. She was one of the most photographed women of the 1960s. Today, in her 80s, she remains dignified and beloved in European cinema. Shirley MacLaine lit up the screen with her versatility and quirkiness. She is now in her 90s, still witty and outspoken, proving that age cannot diminish true personality. Julie Christie was the English Rose of the 1960s, a muse for filmmakers. She has since taken a step back from Hollywood, but continues to appear occasionally, her natural beauty having aged gracefully. Natalie Wood was the girl next door beauty of the 1960s, remembered for films like West Side Story. Her tragic death in 1981 cut her story short, but her image remains frozen in time, forever young. Mia Farrow, with her pixie haircut and delicate charm, was one of the most recognizable faces of the decade. Now in her late 70s, she focuses more on humanitarian work, a life lived with resilience. Faye Dunaway entered the scene in the mid-1960s, bringing sophistication and edge. Today, in her 80s, she remains a striking figure, though more private than during her glamorous peak. Jean Seberg captured hearts with her boyish charm in French New Wave cinema. Sadly, her life ended tragically in 1979, but her spirit remains immortalized in film. Kim Novak was one of the quintessential blondes of her time, with roles that defined an era. She has since withdrawn from Hollywood, now enjoying a peaceful life, her beauty softened with age but her individuality intact. Vanessa Redgrave began her career in the 1960s and is still celebrated today. In her late 80s, she continues to act occasionally, her regal presence never diminished. Monica Vitti was a muse of Italian cinema, unforgettable in Antonioni's films. She lived with Alzheimer's in her later years and passed away in 2022, leaving behind a cinematic legacy of elegance and depth. Ursula Andress became a global icon with her unforgettable entrance in Dr. Number. Today, in her late 80s, she lives a quieter life, but her image as the first Bond girl remains legendary. Julie Newmar, the original Catwoman on TV, was known for her statuesque figure and sharp wit. Now in her 90s, she embraces her age with humor, still recognized by fans worldwide. Honor Blackman became famous as Pussy Galore in Goldfinger. She passed away in 2020, remembered as one of the most stylish Bond women of the 1960s. Claudine Auger, another Bond girl from the 1960s, brought elegance to the role. She passed away in 2019, but her beauty remains immortalized on screen. Dame Judi Dench also began her film career in the 1960s, though she truly rose to fame later. Now in her 90s, she is cherished as one of the greatest British actresses of all time. Stella Stevens was a blonde bombshell of the decade, with roles in both comedy and drama. She passed away in 2023, but she is still remembered as one of the classic beauties of the silver screen. Barbara Eden enchanted audiences with I Dream of Jeannie, becoming a TV icon of the 1960s. Now in her 90s, she still makes public appearances, forever remembered in her pink genie costume. Diana Rigg embodied sophistication as Emma Peel in The Avengers. She passed away in 2020, but she remains a symbol of strength, intelligence, and 1960s style. Shirley Jones was the wholesome beauty of musicals like The Music Man. Today in her late 80s, she is still active in entertainment, her warmth and charm unchanged. As we look back at these remarkable women, one thing becomes clear: beauty may fade, but true legacy lasts forever. The actresses of the 1960s gave us unforgettable performances, iconic styles, and a spirit of resilience that continues to inspire. Some embraced quiet lives, others stayed in the spotlight, but each carved a unique place in history. Their transformations remind us that aging is not an end, but a continuation of the story. Time changes appearances, but it cannot erase talent, charm, or influence. These women remain unforgettable, proving that true stars never stop shining.